On August 30th, 2023 at 9:36 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, so calculate that for your own time zone, we've got a really powerful blue moon in Pisces. This is not quite as intense as an eclipse, but it's pretty potent. This thing is huge. We've been leading up to it all month, and in fact, it turns out I've been having dreams about this Pisces full moon since September of 2019. So I had this really potent dream. There was a full moon in Pisces, but not at this degree. And the dream that I had in 2019 had cosmic implications. It was like we were in the center of a galaxy, and this turquoise teal butterfly, about the color of these little hair clips actually, was pulsating and sending energy out to the universe. It was like this exact hit. And I didn't really understand the dream at that time because it wasn't the degree that full moon in Pisces was. But fast forward a few years, I started having all these dreams where I would hear the song Blue Moon in my head. Like I would wake up with Blue Moon playing all the time in my head, as well as songs that featured trumpets. And this didn't really make a lot of sense to me until I started really unpacking this particular full moon in Pisces, which is a blue moon, meaning it's the second full moon in a month. So really intense energies, could be like a cosmic reset, so a very important kind of full moon. But I want to get into the Sabian symbol because it kind of ties into these dreams that I've been having leading up to this. And with a blue moon or a full moon in Pisces, dream work makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's the sign of the dreamer. It's the sign of the mystic. I tend to get a lot of actionable information from my dreams anyway, but in this case, I was kind of blown away just to see how many dreams appear to be pointing towards this particular time period. So the Sabian symbol for this one is Pisces 8. It actually occurs in the 7 to 8 degree range, but we always round up for Sabian symbols. And it is a girl blowing a bugle. Keynote: a call to participation in the service of the race as an evolutionary crisis approaches. Then Dane Rudyard goes on to explain a little more and says, tomorrow acts through today. It summons men to rebirth. So this kind of tracks with that dream that I had because there's these kind of cosmic implications whenever you have like a trumpet playing or a bugle, which is very similar to a trumpet. It tends to announce something. It announces a change. It also reminds me of the Rider-Waite version of the Judgment card in Tarot. You can see that posted up here. That one has an energy of, there's a rebirth energy, which is part of the Sabian symbol, this rebirth energy, but it comes with these trumpets announcing something. It's like the dead are rising from their graves. In the Robin Wood deck, we get more of the rebirth energy. In this case, this woman is featured. She's naked. She's not ashamed. There's the phoenix rising up behind her from the cauldron. And in the myth of the phoenix, this hermaphroditic phoenix rises from its own funeral pyre. So there's this energy of announcement, of rebirth, of judgment, of karma. And that is actually showing up in the astrology as well as the Sabian symbol. So this one, this full moon, the blue moon, it exactly conjuncts asteroid Karma. So it doesn't get more karmic than that. Now, a lot of people have different understandings of karma. It doesn't always mean punishment, just like judgment doesn't always mean, ooh, you're in trouble. Sometimes judgment and karma just mean, these are the cause and effect of events that have already taken place. And depending on how those events have rolled out, it could be good, it could be bad. So, but there is this strong karmic hit, like literally a ping right on the full moon point at the time of the blue moon. As I said, blue moons are extra potent, not as intense as an eclipse, but because they are more rare, it's kind of like a supercharged full moon. So we've got that energy. We also have a looser conjunction with Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is known as the Lord of Karma. So there we are again. It's like a double whammy of karma. And that imagery of the Judgment card is pulling up more of that. Also, this could be extremely potent and pivotal for the United States. At the time of the blue moon in Pisces, the chart that I pulled for the Washington, D.C. chart, the ascendant of that exactly conjuncts the North Node in Eris, which is right at around 25 degrees Aries right now. The ascendant is like 26 degrees Aries. And so what that says is that whatever's going on in the United States is going to be a very public kind of reckoning, a public destiny with that collective North Node point right over the ascendant. There's this sense of an announcement, again, kind of like the bugle, kind of like the trumpet. The ascendant is how you present to the world. So the United States chart has destiny like calling on it right there. The other thing to keep in mind is that Eris, which is at least as large as Pluto, so I mean a major influence, even though a lot of people don't talk about her, she is conjunct the North Node at this time. Now, Eris is known as the goddess of discord. She's often associated with revenge. In other traditions, there would be this sense like the Sleeping Beauty story where they forget to invite the one fairy to the baptism. And so she like wreaks havoc and starts this whole story with the pricking of the spinning needle and just all of this energy where Sleeping Beauty then falls asleep for 100 years, like the whole castle falls asleep. All this, hedge grows around the castle, but nobody can get through. All the suitors, all the kings, all the princes that are trying to get through, they can't. It's like this thorny hedge. But then Prince Charming, the right prince, he comes through and it's like he's able to get in. And so there is that kind of energy. Again, it's not always bad, right? Like we put a judgment on things and it's not always correct. Sometimes quote unquote, bad things happen because there's a bigger plan at work. There's more energy moving and certain things maybe need to be put to sleep. Certain things need to rest or to die and be reborn in order for new things to come into being. So this particular blue moon, it's got a lot of energy connected with it. We've got some massive potency. It's also a supermoon in itself. And then with that blue moon quality, one of the reasons that I've been tracking this blue moon apparently for 4 years in my dreams is because it, on a personal note, it conjuncts my natal Pholus, which is the small thing, big effect centaur in the natal chart. It's kind of like the butterfly effect. So not unlike that dream that I had with this kind of cosmic butterfly fluttering in the center of the galaxy and like pulsating these beautiful waves of turquoise out to the universe. But in my case, I'm sort of curious what this is going to hold because at the time of my car accident, the South Node and the Moon were exactly conjuncting that point on the descendant of the moment. And when I married my second husband, the South Node was again exactly at that point, and Neptune was there, and it was at the top of the midheaven of the marriage chart. So in my life, this is, a particularly potent thing, but just looking at the energies, seeing this kind of, if you read the Sabian symbols, like if you pay attention to the Sabian symbols of every new moon and every full moon, and you just kind of read that like a story, there's a definite unfolding that is occurring right now in the collective. And to me, it seems very positive. It seems kind of related to some of the things that I was talking about back in my Libra full moon post back in April. So maybe have a look there if you're interested in that. But basically, I'm sensing and I'm seeing and I'm hearing this in sessions too, that there's some kind of cosmic reordering going on. Everyone I talk to that is contemplating a move is like, yeah, I'm the only person moving at this time. Nobody's moving. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I know a lot of people that are relocating right now. I know a lot of people that are changing relationships right now. And there's an energy of change, which feels largely positive in terms of like the greater picture, although depending on where you're living or what level you're living on, it could play out with larger or smaller amounts of kind of difficult or traumatic things. So anytime that we've got something as intense as this blue moon appears to be, it's wise to do things like meditate, especially with the blue moon in Pisces. That kind of spiritual practice is going to be rewarded. So it's a great time to be looking at your dreams. Also, keeping a dream journal, maybe checking back if you have recurrent symbols or song lyrics that show up in your life. I know for me, that's a big thing. Like when I wake up, there's often a song playing in my head. Oftentimes that's actually what wakes me up. And if I look up the lyrics to that song, it tends to explain whatever dream I just had, or it will directly connect into current events that are just about to unfold like the next day. So not everybody dreams that way, but the energies of Pisces really encourage it. And with Saturn in Pisces, I've talked a lot about this in various videos, there's a tendency to like bring the energy down to earth because Saturn is very interested in kind of the foundations, the structures, the tangible realities. And so while all of these shifts are going on, people moving, people shifting relationships, big life moves, it's like the doors are swinging, right? Like people are entering, people are leaving. All of that's happening in context of a much larger picture. I know to a lot of clients, I've been describing it like the great big wheel in the sky, and that like at certain points, somebody turns the wheel and then everybody's life shifts. And that may be astrological because everything is coordinated. It may be coincidental because all these people are somehow linked in ways that we don't know. But in any case, we're in the sign of the collective, and we're having this big lunar event that does appear to be triggering something much larger, something that is destined with that North Node right on the US ascendant. Heracles is still kind of near that point, and Hercules, that's associated with strength and the ability to overcome challenges. And so, yes, there are these things coming up that are in some ways unavoidable with that North Node. You can experience things on a different level, but you can't avoid stuff if it's like an exact hit on the North Node. So in the United States, we could see some pretty crazy stuff, but just know that even with the crazy stuff, what I've seen is some pretty amazing, beautiful stuff, like a really beautiful healed earth, a chance for just a much more spiritual awareness to permeate everyday life, and real beauty, harmony, the highest compassion and love. That's also Pisces. So despite all this karmic intensity, there does seem to be more like these are soul agreements. These are things that our souls, before we incarnated, have agreed to experience. And it's our job to show up, to live the experience in the most beautiful way that we can. And one of the ways to do that is just aligning with your higher self. If you are not a religious person, this might be a good time to start praying, or at the very least, meditating and paying attention to your dreams and exercising a lot of compassion for yourself and others. So I'm recording this on the new moon in Leo, actually, because this is the only time that works for me and for my video editor to like have this produced in time. But just know that all of these moons, the new moon, the full moon, like they're all linking together. There is a story unfolding, which appears to be actually very beautiful and something to look forward to. It just might get a little bumpy at certain points, like watching a movie where you're like on the edge of your seat, kind of wondering, oh no, what's going to happen? But ultimately, it's a beautiful movie trying to unfold. So until next time, you guys take care. Bye.